Hello everyone, my name is Tamar Mnatobishvili and I'm honored to represent the Interdisciplinary and Interfaculty Research Group at Maastricht University. Today we have the privilege of hosting Dr Aneta Spendzharova, an esteemed member of the Political Science Department at our university. Dr Spendzharova brings with her a wealth of knowledge, holding a PhD in political science from the University of North Carolina. And her research is centered around the regulatory governance in the European Union and Central and Eastern Europe. So we're truly fortunate to have her with us today, and welcome and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tamar.
Dr. Spendzharova, your research focuses on the field of European political economy, so a relatively new area in European studies, and maybe you could tell us more about this subfield and what actually sparked your interest in it.
Absolutely. I find it a fascinating field. It tries to disentangle the politics and the different policies of distributional tensions nowadays of very important debates that we're having in the European Union and European studies. For example, take the green transition. The European Union has made a commitment to become carbon neutral by 2050, but of course this requires a lot of investment. And it's taking place against the backdrop of rising socioeconomic inequality and, of course, different abilities of the member states to make the investments that are required. So this gives quite a lot of tension among the member states in their negotiations, and also within the member states in terms of which projects are going to be selected for investment and how to go forward in the best possible way.
Yeah, that's really inspiring. And to move to another question, what are your most recent research projects in the area of regulatory governance in the EU and Central and Eastern Europe?
So right now, for example, with two colleagues from Estonia, Ringa Raudla and Kaia Veskioja, we are analyzing an instrument which is intended exactly to pay for the green transition. That's the so-called Recovery and Resilience Facility. It was adopted very recently, part of the Next Generation EU package that the EU adopted collectively. And it's quite actually difficult to implement this financial instrument, even though it's very generous, because the member states, we find with my co-authors from Estonia, have very different policy capacities to actually find suitable projects and then to implement them within a very short time frame. Very soon, actually, the Recovery and Resilience Facility is running out. And we see states such as Bulgaria, my home member states, are having a lot of trouble meeting their goals and commitments, for example. So that has been a very fascinating project. By contrast, in Estonia, we have found much more political will, greater commitment to actually going forward with the green transition, and even a political agenda predating the Recovery and Resilience Facility to do so. So there things seem to be moving much faster.
And finally, you're also involved in teaching topics related to European political economy and regulatory governance at the faculty, right? So how do you integrate your research into your teaching?
Absolutely. So this may not come across as the most fascinating topic to teach in a bachelor's or in a master's program, but once we delve into, again, the political aspect of the green transition or the European budget, it becomes much more engaging. So, for example, in the course Governing the European Economy in the Master's European Studies, we did a simulation of the European budgetary negotiations of the latest multi-annual financial framework representing all of the member states. And quite actually a few students were very interested in picking Central Eastern European member states for these negotiations, also to learn more about them. So how in Poland the preferences on the European budget were made, or in Bulgaria, Romania for that matter. And we had a quite fascinating negotiation afterwards when we did the debriefing. Quite a few students shared with me that they learned a lot also about the economic preferences in the new member states, what maybe their basis is. And they learned quite a lot about the actual interlinkage between fundamental values such as democracy and human rights and rule of law in the new member states, and then the economic preferences, why actually these have been so closely interlinked in the latest negotiations. What students also in this course told me was quite revealing is learning about competitors to the European Union. Nowadays in Central and Eastern Europe, there is a politicization of the European Union. It's not taken for granted that that's the actor that has the most salient and is most maybe interesting for the citizens in these countries. So we also try to disentangle what more authoritarian, let's say, rivals of the EU, such as Russia or China, are doing in the economic domain, and what implications that has for the European Union and its own economic policies and budgetary policies.
Thank you so much for sharing your invaluable insights with us today, and your expertise in regulatory governance and political science enriches our understanding of Central and Eastern Europe's evolving dynamics. And thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you to our viewers.
Thank you very much, Tamara.